Hello, everybody. Sunday Adelaja here. We are continuing my charge to Nigeria and Nigerians, and today I'm talking about corruption again. Is fight against corruption really working? Especially this Buhari fight against corruption. Well, if you want to know my opinion, my personal opinion, I would say it is not working, because the level of corruption in Nigeria is still very high. Is anything working at all for them to some extent? Maybe yes. I definitely believe that the fight against corruption is much more intense in this regime than during the time of Jonathan. And I think that at least we needed this time. We needed this season in our nation's life when somebody would challenge corruption. And that's why we needed Buhari. We needed Buhari. So Buhari was needed. And I'm proud that I supported him to come to power. Because if he had not come to power, if it had been Jonathan that had continued, it would have been horrible. Corruption would have just increased, skyrocketed. If it had been Atiku, he is not even ashamed of saying that corruption is not a problem. So it would have just increased. So I'm glad that we were able to bring in Buhari. But unfortunately, in my opinion, he too has failed. Maybe he has not done so bad as other people have done before him, but he has failed to address corruption in Nigeria the right way. The problem with the way he is addressing corruption is in his method. He just wants to punish and penalize the corrupt people. But that is not enough. That's not the way to address corruption. If you really want to address the question of corruption in Nigeria, you must first of all admit to the fact that all Nigerians, if not all, most Nigerians are corrupt and are having corrupt practices one way or the other, either in the schools or in the universities, in the secondary schools, either as leaders or as ordinary citizens, that we have a problem with corrupt values. We have corrupt values as a people, even not just our generation, even before our generation, our fathers, our grandparents, and the history of Nigeria has been ripped and with corruption. So we need to address the fact that how do we lay a new foundation for a corrupt-free society? How do we build a society of civilized people? How do we clean the mind of our people from corrupt values and practices? How do we lay a new foundation to the fabric of our nation? And how do we bring about right values, value system that will pave the way for our civilization, for our advancement as a nation? And that is what Buhari is not doing. Buhari is supposed to admit the fact that we are not as good as we think we are, and all of us are liable, that all of us are guilty of corruption. And so the corruption campaign must be holistic. It must be holistic from primary school, from kindergarten to university, from churches to mosques, from government ministries to every government parastatus, from Hollywood to channels and to all television stations and all radio stations. Everywhere we must have a holistic, comprehensive campaign, and a thorough campaign with the involvement of civil societies and NGOs and anybody that can do and say anything. We must have a thorough program to sanitize our whole society from corruption and the wrong value system. But he has not done that, and that's why I feel that he has failed. Because the form of fight against corruption that Buhari is having right now is such that he just wants to prosecute those people that have been caught. He wants to prosecute them, and so hoping that by punishing those ones who have been caught, which they must be punished, but that is enough to deter others from practicing same. But it doesn't follow. However, we still must give him the credit that at least he's trying his best and to prosecute and to charge as many people as possible to court for the corrupt practices that they have allowed in their lives. So let me just give you some examples of some of the victories and the successes of this Buhari government in the case of fight against corruption. So we'll be going to look at a few high-profile convictions that EFCC and Buhari government have managed to gain. So the first one I want to talk about today is Jolly Uyame. Now, who is Jolly Uyame? Jolly Uyame is a former governor of Taraba State. He's been convicted right now, and he's been sentenced as well. He's been sentenced to jail. He's in prison right now as we speak. And it was done by thanks to an Abuja court, and Justice Adebukola Banjoko did that, and she had actually convicted 2 governors right now. But it's not just the conviction that matters. She also ordered that all the funds previously recovered by EFCC from the governor himself and from his aides, that all that money should go to Taraba State government, which is a good thing. So because they stole the money from Taraba State government, and in some cases they tell them to return the money to federal government, but in this case, the state is going to the money is going to go back to the people of the state. Then another victory, a major victory in this fight against corruption, is that one of Andrew Yakubu. And all of you have heard about the case of the Andrew Yakubu. That is the guy that had all the money in the house somewhere, in one of the houses in Kaduna State. He's a former group managing director of NNPC. Was an engineer there, engineer Andrew Yakubu. We forfeited, but the most important thing I want to talk about here is that the government was able to take that money back from him, which is $9.7 million. And again, in addition to that, another $74,000. These things were allegedly stashed in the house, in the fireproof safe in a house there, but they were being returned to the government. So you could say that is a little bit of victory, right? We're not even talking about the money that has been returned also from Abacha loot. And the first time that the Swiss government was going to be returning money to Africa was to Nigeria. So those are a little bit of success. The next one I will talk about also is Haruna Momo. Now, the gain from this was from ICPC. They started. It's not even completed yet, but they have started a case to recover 2.4 billion naira from this man. But apart from the money, he also had a few landed properties in Abuja that were, of course, illegally acquired. And I think there were several of them, many lands and properties and buildings, and that, these people are just using their money. When they steal the money, they want to liquidate the money. They want to, convert it. So they buy properties, land, and that's what they have done. They had a company that he called PPMC. He was the director of he was the former managing director of that company, which is pipelines and products marketing company. He and his wife were actually in it. So this is another gain, we could say. So I'm taking different categories of people. So I've talked about government recovery. I've spoken about NNPC. These are just other people that are just supposed to be business people, but they have also stolen the money from the government because the government paid them and they don't do what they're supposed to do. So the government had forfeited all those properties, the land and the building and the money, but the man doesn't want to give up, and they go back to court. That's what they do in Nigeria. They stretch it out in court. They go back to court to try to protest, and then the courts keep on going and going. But we hope that these things will be returned to the federal government eventually. The properties in different parts of Abuja will be returned back to the government. But he's still challenging the order, though. This Momo is still challenging the order in court. And I think that is this court, Justice Adelaja or something, that is in charge of it. And right now, it's still, one court had ordered that all those things should be seized. But, like the people do in Nigeria, they appeal it. And so those things are still in the hand of, they are still like in the court order, but I hope it will be recorded as another gain for this government in their fight against corruption. Of course, the next one I want to talk about, it's like most Nigerians have heard about this particular incident. They call him what they call him, Chief. He's supposed to be Chief Miner, but they call him Chief Miner, Abdul Rashid Miner. Now, the Abdul Rashid Miner was the man in the pension fund. Yeah, but the federal court in Abuja just in October of last year ordered temporary, which 2019, ordered temporary forfeiture of 23 properties, 23 buildings in Abuja that, as you know, were credited to Abdul Rashid Miner. 23. According to EFCC, the temporary forfeiture of these properties were not just Abuja, but he had properties in Abuja, he had properties in Kaduna, Borno, he had properties in Sokoto, and of course, you know, Abuja. So there are people like this, and I would not even talk about Kalu, the governor that has just been convicted, has been sent to prison, and he's also going to forfeit some of his properties to the federal government, unfortunately. But I think they have to send that property to is it Abia? I think it was the governor of Abia. That is another victory. That's the latest victory in the fight against corruption, because Kalu, the former governor Kalu, he was is it Oji Kalu or Oji Kalu? He moved to APC, and a lot of people had thought that because he had moved to APC that he will be exempted from persecution. But so this is a proof that this government, Buhari's government, is serious about corruption. That it doesn't matter if you run to APC, that you will still answer before the law. And so is the fight against corruption working? In my assessment, it's not working. Despite all these prosecutions and despite all this money that has been forfeited to the government, these are nothing. Most of the elites of Nigeria are living on stolen money. So if we want to talk about how much should be recovered before we could say the fight is worth it, then most of the elites in Nigeria have to be arrested and their money and property seized. Only then we could say, okay, there is a fight against corruption. But right now, it's too weak. But again, just convicting people who are guilty or who are corrupt is not enough. We must go to fight against corruption before people ever become corrupt. Before they ever, prevention is better than cure anytime, any day. And that's why I am in support of starting a holistic propaganda program, educational program, to sanitize our whole society of corrupt practices and corrupt value system. I hope somebody will hear and begin to do something about this. And every Nigerian can begin to do something about it. I am doing my best right now by at least talking about it, raising the awareness. If we have more people talk about it, then maybe soon we'll have people also acting about it, including civil societies, including media practitioners, including NGOs, and including government officials. We could push the government officials to begin to do the right thing for the love of God, church, and nation. Peace. Sunday Adelaja here. If you believe in nation-building principles, please like this video, share it with your friends, and let's change our nations together.